it can sound, and probably when we're saying it, feel a bit simplistic, that maybe the loss of two kind of talismanic individuals may be to the benefit of the team. Our goal of the week, and arguably our player of the week, if we were going to go down that road, Ben Sheaf.
And interesting that the guy he does the trick on was Barry Bannon, who's probably scored many goals like this in his career. But nice little bit of manoeuvring on the edge of the box and just bends that one in the corner. Also, I think you have to put all factors into a worldie. Good limbs behind the goal as well, wasn't there? It's a good away end there at Hillsborough with the Coventry fans. But talk to me about Sheaf's goal. Then I want to hear about him, and then we really need to talk about Coventry and getting in the playoffs 2 years running as well.
Yeah, I think he's very unfortunate not to have been featuring on this podcast the last few weeks. I think he got a honourable mention for the half team of the season. If we were having that conversation now, there's an argument to say that he'd be in it. So, yeah, I think he's a bit of an unsung hero at Coventry, not amongst their supporters now. Played a lot of games for a 25-year-old. Seems to be someone that I've been talking about a lot over the years in League One and Championship. Yeah, I remember him. His Doncaster loan, I think, was when I first kind of became really aware of him. But he's played a lot of games for Coventry during a temporary switch, and also now as a permanent player. So, yeah, fundamental, I think, to the way that they set up, and to get a couple of goals as well. Yeah, amazing, given that the form he's in. Just caps, really, what's been a bit of a purple patch for him. I keep reading about him. I keep hearing people waxing lyrical about him. And they needed it because it was a bit of an ugly game for more reason than one, which we may get onto.
God, yeah.
So it wasn't a good game. Neither team played well. But the old cliche, not a bad sign to be winning when it's a bit of a mess. The pitch isn't good there. I think they missed the Hadji Wright option. I think not necessarily him down the middle, but having that pace out wide, the ability to run beyond. They didn't really have that at the weekend. Nobody who could really stretch the play. I think I read that Matty Godden had 9 touches before he was replaced. So I think in time, and that's been my sentiment throughout the season, really, Hadji Wright will be or he's capable of being a number 9.
Earlier, Sam, I think he's got 13 goal contributions. I think he's got 8 goals, 5 assists. So even if he just goes on at the same rate, it's going to be good output, even if it hasn't necessarily been pleasing on the eye for maybe the first third of the season.
Yeah, I think he's just missed quite a lot of chances, which, he can develop that side of his game. I think that was definitely a criticism of Gyökeres in his initial spell at Coventry. No, and I go back to that game at AFC Wimbledon, first week of the season. I think it was his first appearance. He had about 10 chances. His movement was, I spoke to Johnny Jackson after the game about his movement. Godden's movement's very good as well. But we spoke about Hadji Wright's movement in particular. It's frightening on the night. He gets in loads. So they just need to stick with him. And maybe he'll have a big part to play second half of the season. But I just thought, not that Sheffield Wednesday were particularly good, but I did think they closed down that threat on the right-hand side, which we spoke of, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, very good, yeah.
Van Ewijk and Sakamoto. So, not vintage Coventry, but 9 unbeaten now. And I think we said this last week as well. Leicester, Middlesbrough, Sunderland, Southampton, Leeds, they played all the big guys in this run pretty much. And to remain unbeaten and put themselves in with a shot is testament to Mark Robins again.
Yeah, he always pulls it out. I had a look. If the next 13 games the same as the previous 13, they'd be at 71 points with 5 to play. So there's 2 sides to that. They've got to keep at it after the poor start, but they're in there if they keep it up, aren't they? That should be plenty enough with 5 games to go to get maybe, I don't know whether it will be high 70s this year. I think the top 4 are going to take a lot of points out of everyone else, and maybe the playoff total will be a little bit lower, won't it? And it all feels fairly straightforward, Sam, doesn't it? So many players in the summer, they earned themselves the equivalent of a parachute payment with, Hamer and Gyökeres, and it's just taken until, November the 11th, it says on my notes, for all of those signings to click. It seems that straightforward, doesn't it?
Yeah, and sometimes it can sound, and probably when we're saying it, feel a bit simplistic, that maybe the loss of two kind of talismanic individuals may be to the benefit of the team, because, certainly thinking back to those playoff games, and I know it's how it panned out at Wembley, but it almost was Hamer over the top for Gyökeres. And as it was at Wembley that day, Gyökeres getting hold of the ball and laying it back for a Hamer goal from distance. But, more the former. I thought when they changed the shape, didn't they? And they were just playing with, I think they were just playing with Gyökeres. And it was almost as if they'd done away, probably without Callum O'Hare, with that extra pass or looking to feed it from kind of, what would it be? Kind of B to C. And it was just going forward a little bit earlier. And I actually thought it had become a little bit predictable. That said, they made it through to Wembley with a different type of couple of performances. 1-0 over the two legs against Middlesbrough, and then against Luton, it was a bit stodgy again. So maybe we're seeing a more rounded side, and potentially with a side that's got more threats. So, yeah, disappointing to lose two great Championship players, but in the long run, they might be better off. And I wouldn't say in better state to attack the playoffs, but you know what I mean. They might actually have a bit of better balance and some more consistency, I suppose.
It's the one step back to take two steps forward sometimes, isn't it? And hopefully for them over the course of the season. And with the West Brom defeat, we kind of had West Brom in a little league on their own, in fifth place. But we'll tighten up on that now. So maybe we have a fifth and sixth conversation, which does involve Coventry as well.
Let me put this on you then. Because it's another conversation that we had at the weekend. I'd actually had it about a month ago on 5 Live and absolutely butchered the answer, which I recalled. Where's your cutoff now for the playoffs? Because before the games at the weekend, I think if Swansea had won, they would have gone 6 points away from 6th. So Coventry 6th on 43 points. I mean, would you give Millwall, Blackburn a chance?
Yeah, it's so easy, Sam, to look at it in terms of numbers of points, isn't it? But your quality radar has got to come up as well. And you look at it and you see Norwich in there trending up and they're close. So you almost now start including Norwich at this point. You have to go down as far as Middlesbrough, who are 11th and only 3 points off it. I think anyone below there, I know you've just bigged up Bristol City, Preston, it feels like they'll trend around the middle, maybe upwards, maybe top 10 might be good. But yeah, I'm definitely cutting off at Middlesbrough, and the Sunderland trend down is noticeable. And, Watford, Hull, I'm not so sure. But Sam, we say this all the time. Ask me in 2 weeks, I'll give you a different answer than I gave you. Ever evolving, isn't it?
I mean, do you know what? Today, that is absolutely the right answer, though, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
It would take an incredible turnaround for Preston. I think now, that their confidence just looks shot, albeit they were obviously better for 45 minutes yesterday. Bristol City are proving 100% in my mind, but they're short, I think, in important areas. And they're probably where Russell Martin was a month into the season at Southampton. Do you know what I mean? So there's still going to be some knocks, I think. So, yeah, as you sit here now, I think that's very, very sensible to cut off at Borough. But then, if Swansea were to get their act together and win a couple of games, it could change. But yeah, I'd probably say right now, top 11, isn't it?
And to think, every year I bloody have to listen to people complaining about the playoffs. They're brilliant. They make us have conversations like this.